The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good afternoon and welcome to today's IPSE webinar. My name is Luann Wise and today's topic is about how to build your business using Facebook groups. Before we begin, just double checked we are recording. I'm going to run this webinar for about half an hour. There will be plenty of time for Q&A. If you think of them as you're going along, I'll keep an eye on the chat box, or we'll have some time for Q&A at the end as well. If you do think of anything after the session, which I know often happens, then I will include my contact details so you can get in touch with me and ask anything further at any time. So to get started, because this is a webinar and webinars are often a little bit strange because I know we're all sat at our computers with headphones on and listening. Let me just show you what I look like if you haven't heard one of my webinars before. As I said, my name is Luann Wise. I'm a marketing consultant. I'm a small business owner. I've run my own business since 2011, helping organisations with their marketing planning and getting results from social media. I am an author, that's me pictured with my book, Relax, It's Only Social Media, and also creator of the Social Media Planner, which takes that book and makes it really actionable in day-to-day checklists and tick lists and ways to keep your social media on track with measurements. I'm really proud to be a LinkedIn Learning course instructor. If you have a premium LinkedIn account, you may know that you have access to thousands of online learning courses, anything and everything from Word, PowerPoint to time negotiation, productivity skills, and I have a number of courses on there you can see on the topics of social media marketing and content marketing as well. I am an accredited She Means Business trainer, which, if you're not aware, is Facebook's campaign alongside Enterprise Nation about empowering and training female business owners. We're targeted to train 10,000 people this year. Really excited to be involved in that. And of course, I'm really proud to be an IPSE ambassador as well. If you want to connect with me at any time, please send me a message on LinkedIn, or you can find me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram as well at Luann Wise. So today I'm really going to go back to some Facebook basics, because I often find that when I'm training face-to-face or talking to people, that it's Facebook groups, people don't even realize they exist, or they don't really understand the full opportunity that they can present for their business. And it's clearly a popular webinar topic as well. So let me go through the slides with you. There are kind of 4 key elements to Facebook: your personal profile, business pages, groups, and then Messenger. And it's pages and groups that are for business, but they're completely separate entities as well. You do need a personal profile to create a business page. When you set that up, you become the page's admin, which means you can change how the page looks and you can publish content as your page. And you can also add other page administrators. And even though you create that page from your profile, people will not see the link or be able to access your personal profile. Just to cover off that pages are the official profile place for celebrities, brands, and businesses. Unlike your personal profile, a Facebook page is visible to everyone, and everyone on Facebook can like a page and see updates in the newsfeed. However, as we know, because Facebook did announce this at the beginning of 2018, their algorithm prioritizes content from friends and family, which is why groups can actually be really beneficial. Going back, a page is where company news is posted, announcements are made about products, services, what's on, etc. It's where you may post new content such as blogs, you may share videos, and your page fans, your followers, can interact by liking, sharing, and commenting. Facebook pages are also a great place to help attract future employees, to attract partners, suppliers, and it's really important if you have a page, you should have a page if you're running a business, that you're posting consistently 5 to 7 times a week, ideally. But groups are the place to build communities. They're the destination for people with like-minded interests to gather. They're great for small group communication and for people to share their interests and express opinions and ask questions. And more than 1 billion people are using groups on Facebook every month. Groups allow people to come together around they can post photos and share related content. Now, people join groups to help them solve problems, whether that's problems in their personal lives, problems at work, or to discuss hobbies. Groups are meant to help create conversations that are less about your brand and your business and more about shared interests. And like with pages, new posts by a group are included in the news feeds of its members. Members can interact and share with one another from the group, and you can tag people in group conversations. Groups. Just want to clarify before I move on throughout the presentation to talk about the nature of groups and their setup. There are 3 types of Facebook groups. Open groups, where anyone can join and everyone can see the posts. Closed groups, where anyone can ask to join, but requests have to be accepted by a group administrator. If you're not a member of the group, you won't be able to see any group posts, and this is probably the most popular setting. Secret groups do exist, and there's many of them online, but they don't appear in search results, so it's unlikely that you'll be able to find them. They're often very specific, and they're often paid for example, as part of a mastermind or a coaching program in which someone would invite you to that secret group. Now, until you get to 5,000 members in a group where there's more restrictions on settings, admins could change the group privacy settings at any time, but you would get notified as a member of that setting. So if something changed from a closed to an open group and you had content in there, you would become aware of it. All groups, open, closed or secret, require approval before on these slides on the live session. I'd love you to pop in the Q&A box if you have a Facebook group. If it needs a description about it, if it's not obvious from the name, it'd be great to know, and then I'll keep an eye on those and maybe give some of them a shout out later on at the end of the presentation. You may also be aware, or perhaps not aware, that there are different types of group. When someone's setting up a group, they can pick the group type from all of these settings. But you might also notice that if you're a member of a group, then you would see some of these options as well to give you an idea of what the group's about. Friends, for communities, for clubs, for events, family, neighbours, or specific projects as well. It's great, some people are typing in their groups, so I can see those coming in. I will look at them. Have a look and see if you can spot the groups that you're in, or when you're searching for groups, what type of group it is, will give you a flavour for what to expect. You can join up to 6,000 groups, which is huge. You would never actually be able to keep up with this. So I wouldn't recommend it, but just to let you know, there is a limit, but it's a huge limit. So it's not something you need to worry about. When you're finding groups or looking for groups, well, Facebook will suggest some that they think you would like to join based on pages you've liked, groups that your friends are members of, groups that are similar to other groups you're a member of, or groups that are in your local area as well. From your news feed, down the left-hand side, the left menu, that's a screenshot of mine there, you could click on groups, and the middle circle there, it gives you suggestions. Facebook will give you suggestions along different categories, whether it is community groups or hobby groups or interest groups. And you could click on that and have a look at the options. And you could also search for group names. Quite hard to see on your screen, but top right, I popped in the word groups for freelancers, and it came up with some suggestions for me. So very easy to find groups if you're looking for them and want to see what's going on. Depending on the group settings, you may have to wait for that group admin to approve your request. When you are joining a group, other people may be able to see that you're a member of it, depending again on the group's privacy settings. Something to note when you're looking for groups is that I would apply some key criteria for looking for those groups for your business, or whether you're using these for your lifestyle or for your hobbies as well, is to look at the about description of the group. This should give you an indication of who the group is for and what to expect when you're in there. Unless it is an open group, you will not be able to see the discussions until you join. When you do join, you should be looking to see if it's an active group and that there's not too much spam in there either. There's nothing worse than a group that's just full of people posting. Key to note, and this is something that came about at the end of 2018, is that you can now join groups as a page. So this did seem to be a huge barrier for some people, that they didn't want to join via their personal profile because they were using this for business. But Facebook changed the settings. It is a setting that a group owner has to offer that as an option, but it may be very likely now that you could join a group as your business page, not just as your personal profile. You may find that as you're trying to join a group that you will be asked 3 questions. We call these onboarding questions. And this is very often for group owners to check that the group is right for you and to check that you are going to agree with the rules of the group. So it's as much for your benefit as it is for theirs. And I would check the group rules before you get involved. A good group owner will have some quite tight group rules to maintain the integrity of the group and make sure that everyone's getting value out of it. Now, in terms of getting results for your business from Facebook groups, I would consider finding and joining different types of groups for your different needs. You could find groups where you can learn from other people. It could be a learning group, it could be a mastermind or a coaching group. It could be that you find a group where you can get peer-to-peer support. So not perhaps where you may find business, but where you can have discussions with people in the it can be hugely valuable. You could also join groups insight about your target audience, and you could join groups for connecting with your target audience. I will share some more examples later on, but if you were to ask me about my business and my use of Facebook groups, it's probably more for the bottom 2. I join groups such where I'm looking for people that are asking questions about social media. They may be newbies to social media. They may be new to how to set up ads for social media. They may be a social media mastermind group or a geek group. If it's a closed group but I can get in there, it's very useful for me to be able to see the kind of questions that people are asking. And that's for if I'm writing courses, if I'm writing presentations. It's a way for me to gather insight around what is keeping people up at night and what their concerns are or what they don't know about. And in terms of connecting with your target audience, they may be different to those groups for insight. They may be ways of finding people to be helpful towards. It may be more in my local area or more in a group that isn't about my industry or isn't about my topic, but it's a group where I know that my target audience hangs out. Each group will have a different purpose for me, and I will engage in that group in a different way. But I will always check the group rules and I will always answer their onboarding questions. As I said, people do join groups to help them solve problems in their life, in their job, and with their hobbies. So they could be the kind of groups that you would join. The first thing I did when I moved house last summer was to find groups for my new town. I could find places to go, see what's on, get recommendations for anything from plumbers to carpenters to solicitors to help me with my move. Groups are seen as a safe place. It's open to you when you get accepted Spend some time looking through the post to get a feel for kind of how it operates. And once you understand the tone of the conversation, the way other members ask and answer questions or offer advice, you'll be able to get involved and do the same. Sometimes a group just isn't what you're expecting, or your use for the group may be complete, and it's absolutely fine. Leave the group. From your newsfeed, click groups in the left menu, select the group you want to leave, and then you can do so. Other members So once you're in those groups, how does it work? It's all about discussions. Conversations are the focus of the groups. This isn't the place to sell. This isn't the place to kind of go read my blog. And it's why you will often see prompts from the group owner, the group host, with themes around different days to encourage you to get involved and to encourage you to ask questions and have discussions. That could be, I checked through my groups today just to see what people are up to on this. It could be Monday motivation, people asking you what you need to accomplish that week. Those kind of questions really do prompt you to get involved. These threads are really about trying to keep the posts tidy and all in one place and avoid too much self-promotion. I particularly liked one in one group that I'm a member of, which was Thankful Friday, as a kind of way of rounding up your week and sharing with other members how it's gone and what you achieved and what you're thankful for at the end of the week. Very positive. And also really nice, you'll see, and there's some group functionality that allows owners to do this, is to welcome new members to the group as well. If you're not the group owner, what can you get involved in? Well, share your stories. Share successes, share the challenges and what you did to overcome them. Celebrate milestones, tell people what's worked for you if you're celebrating anniversaries, and do ask for advice. I would recommend that if you're getting involved in group discussions, that you always search the group first, because your question may have been asked before. There's a search bar usually down the left-hand side. And I would also bear in mind that even if groups are closed or secret, nothing in groups is ever really private. People can screenshot things. So even though they are a safe place, please do also remember that this is online, searchable, and can stay around. So owning a group. Before you ever consider setting up a group and being a group owner, I would suggest that you are a group member, so that you understand how groups work, how they get involved. And then if you do think that owning a group is for you, then be really clear on why you're setting it up. Really clear that you have a clear purpose for doing so and how you'll maintain it as well. Remember, groups are not a sales tool. It's about offering value and fulfilling people's needs because they have problems first. It's about raising your visibility. It's about networking. And you could kind of consider the group to be a public service, and your company is the sponsor of that. Moderators in groups have the same permissions as admins, except for managing the group roles. And I would suggest that it's a really good idea to get some moderators, particularly as your group grows. As the bullet points here show, you can admin from a page or from your personal profile, depends how you've set it up. You can assign the different group roles. Do, as we've referred to earlier about joining groups, if you're owning a group, do create group rules and do create entry questions. Do schedule group posts. If you're having those themes, you have the ability as the group owner to schedule posts into those groups. Brilliant for time management. You can pin posts in there just as you can on a page, marking them as an announcement. And one of the good values of owning a group, just like a page really, is that you do get some insights. You get insights around new members, which means you should be looking for group growth. You also get insights around the age, gender, and location of your group members. You get data around posts, comments, and reactions to your content. Plus, you get to see the top contributors. You can see the popular days and times for your group content, And if you wish, you can export the data. So there is some real values in owning a group, but as I said, it can take time, it can take a lot of resource and management. So be really clear on the purpose before you do so. And I will share, I have one group myself that I own, that I run. It's a very small group, it's very local to Gloucestershire. It's part of the She Means Business campaign I mentioned at the beginning. So if you do want to join and see what's going on in Gloucestershire for She Means Business, that's the name of my group. If you don't want to own a group, check, one may already exist. So you could get involved in that. Consider how you can get involved in groups that already exist, perhaps as a moderator or perhaps as a group expert. And this is my chosen option for using Facebook groups for my business. I'm behind the scenes for some groups. I help people set them up. I help them drive their purpose and create content plans. But for some others, I'm really in there to share my expertise as a resident expert. Some of you on this webinar may have seen these posts. If you're part of this group, you'll recognise them. I do a monthly Ask Luann post where anyone can ask me questions about marketing or social media questions within that thread. Or also the moderators all know that if a question crops up around social media or business marketing, that they will tag me, which means I get a notification and I can go in and help members of the group. It's about being helpful. It saved me having to create and moderate and manage a huge group, but I identified a group where I would find a place where I could be helpful and have a strong relationship with the group owner and provide value to her as well. So, in summary, I have got plenty of time for Q&A. We've talked about the role of Facebook groups. I really do think they're an amazing opportunity for business to learn, to interrogate your target audience, to gather insight about the Q&As for your industry and your topics. We've talked about the different types of Facebook groups, whether they are open, closed or secret, whether they are small community for close friends, neighbours, specific projects, or perhaps social learning. I've talked through with you how to find and join Facebook groups. That really is quite easy, but you need to know what you're looking for before you go searching. Search down the left-hand side of your personal profile, use the search box along the top, but consider what it is you want to do and what you want to achieve with Facebook groups. Otherwise, you will end up joining 6,000 and be overwhelmed by what's going on. Once you've joined Facebook groups and you've applied those criteria of them being valuable, active, and non-spammy, then do get involved in those group discussions. Feel your way for a while, watch the group, see how it works, but then do get involved, asking questions, celebrating milestones, and sharing advice. If you want to own a Facebook group, really easy to set up. Honestly, you will just see a create group, but make sure that you have a very clear purpose for doing so, that you will have time to manage the group, that you have a content plan. At the point where you need additional support, such as moderators, you have that as part of your plan. But for business, to help build your business, to reach your target audience, to create your own community, even to build your email lists, I really would advocate finding the right groups and becoming a recognised expert in those groups. And last but not least, this is something I really want to highlight. I haven't shared this earlier, but even though you can join groups as a page, many people still prefer to join groups as themselves from a personal profile, which is absolutely fine. People do business with people and you may want to show who you are, but please do check your personal profile privacy settings. Have a professional name for your account, have a professional photo on your Facebook profile, and check those privacy settings. Because if I see you participating in a group and want to know more about you and click on your photo or your name, I may be able to see a lot more than you consider people are able to. It's the harder side of Facebook groups, I believe, over LinkedIn groups, because you do not get to see much about the person who is sharing content within groups, whether they start the discussion or participate in the discussion. It's not like LinkedIn where you can kind of see someone's CV and how credible they are at answering that question. So I would urge you to cross-reference and just double check before accepting advice in Facebook groups. I saw this particularly last year around GDPR. People offering expertise, but I would have to question who it was sharing that expertise in a Facebook group before I decided whether I would take that on board for my own business. So I'll open it up to Q&A, but wanted to let you know that within the slide deck that you will get along with the recording, some additional resources. I curate and share every Monday morning a email newsletter which contains all the weekly social media updates. I know how difficult it is to keep on top of everything, so I do that task and curate them and share them if you want to sign up to that. Facebook have a number of free online learning courses to set up your page, to set up groups, manage your groups, and that's called Facebook Blueprint. They also have a great help resource. So I've included the link there specifically for group admin or joining groups in case that applies to you at any point in time. And as a LinkedIn Learning course instructor, I of course advocate their courses as well. I know how long it takes to write and produce and how well managed these courses are. And there was an excellent one that was released at the end of last year, so it's very current, around marketing on Facebook groups. So I said it was a back to basics, but hopefully there's some ideas in there for all of you, whether you're joining groups or owning groups as well. I'm going to have a quick look at the questions to see if there's any groups I can give a shout out to. Some people have clients who are running groups, so they're working with them. A newly open group which I'm currently trying to grow and encourage more interaction. This is quite hard, it is, as I said, it takes a plan before you set up the group. It takes questions that people really want to get involved with. So the art of creating content for social media is to write to start a discussion. It's not to write things where people can just scroll past because they don't really feel that they want to get involved. Or it's not a place to write something that's just a yes or no answer. Yes, you can run polls, but if you want more interaction than that, that's why the things around, what have you got planned for this week? What do you need to achieve this week? How has this week gone for you? You kind of scroll past that in a group and you can't help yourself but start typing because it's kind of appealed to you. So my recommendations, if you're trying to grow a group, is to have a good content plan. You will need to manage that more at the beginning for a new group. Over time, your members will just take over and be posting content because they know how the group works. To get people to join your group, you have to tell them about it. Just as I told you in this session, I have a group called She Means Business Gloucestershire. I include that in my email newsletters regularly. You need to let people know that it exists, but also make sure that you have a good name for the group, you have a good about us description, so if people are looking for it. And someone has a closed group and community page called Paramount Games Rental, which is for online video game rentals. Shout out to you for that group. Some questions. How many groups would you say are manageable? I belong to 7 active groups and it's quite hard to keep up sometimes. I would say it's more about working out how much time you've got to devote to Facebook groups and the value you think they could bring to your business. It may be that if you're new in business or you're facing a quieter period, you may want to be more active in some groups than others. I would probably pick 2 or 3 core groups that you may visit a couple of times a week. 7, if they're really active, then yeah, your newsfeed could be really full. You could decide whether you want to switch off notifications and just go into that group when the time's right for you, or if you do want to see everything in your newsfeed. I tend to have a real mixture of groups where I'm using them to see what people are talking about or posting updates and things that are going on, and I kind of scroll past those and maybe save some things throughout the week. I probably only have 2 or 3 where I'm really active and being helpful at any point in time. So I would focus perhaps on your own time first and what you want to achieve from Facebook groups rather than giving you a specific number. Any other groups, questions? Don't know if I'm getting off lightly with questions again or if they're just not coming through. But just to let you know that my next webinar is actually on the 13th of May, which is about using social media to find clients. Please add to your diary on the 20th of June is National Freelancers Day, hosted by IPSE. I'll be running a workshop there called Creating Content for Social Media Success. Okay, couple more questions. I'm starting a new application the next few months and I'm trying to build an enthusiast client base. How can I approach groups, example families? I would just search groups, join groups, see if the nature of the conversations in there fit with what you're trying to achieve. If you think that they're relevant to you and can be of value to you, if you want to ask questions or polls, etc., then I would reach out to the group manager and have a conversation with them about how you can perhaps, get more involved in the group and work together with them so that you create reciprocal value. So the group where I'm the resident expert and answering questions, there's value for both of us, the group owner and myself, in having that relationship. So I identified the groups first, I joined, I watched, and then reached out when I thought that I could get more involved and where I thought that I could offer something of value to the group owner too. It's all about community. How do you join a group as a page? When you first join a group now, you should get the option. So this isn't about your settings, it's about the settings of the group owner. And if they have allowed that, when you go to join that group, it will pop up with a box that says, do you want to join as yourself? And it would have your personal profile icon photo on there, or do you want to join as a page, in which case it would have your page profile photo. So it's very much down to the group owner and their settings. If you're not able to join as a page and you'd like to, perhaps drop them a note and ask them if that's an option. Some group owners prefer to keep it as personal profiles, so people are engaging as people. Others may just not have realised that they can change that setting just yet. Post content 5+ times a week. Yeah, that's on your Facebook business page. It's more important to be consistent in posting content to reach your audience, but the recommendations from Facebook are that to maintain your presence 5 to 7 times a week, which is less than 1 a day. And yes, within groups, more community-based content rather than selling. So unless you have set up a group around help for how to use your product or service, or around a coaching program where it's very product specific, I would set up a group or join a group that is based around needs. It's based around needs for people's lifestyles, for peer-to-peer support, or for hobbies. So think about if there's something common that your target audience have as a common interest that you can create your group around, rather than a business named group. It's very about community, it's about sharing, it's about collaboration, and in turn you're building trust, and then you can do some sales posts. Not regularly, not every post should be about selling, but the reason I'm an expert in some groups and I build trust by answering their Q&A is that at some point I will sell. And if you want to buy my book on that for more information, here's the link. What can I offer them, the group owner? As a group owner, if you're looking for experts, you could offer exclusivity. You could offer, the group owner is offering access to their community as a recognised expert. Very often group rules are around please don't sell and please do not post, but if you've got a relationship with the group owner and they've given you permission to do so and introduced you to the group as someone that does that, then that's a good thing. So you've got to offer something of value to the expert, and as a group owner you've got to show that you're giving them an audience and a platform. I would be looking for exclusivity for my time, or I would be looking for it to be about very specific products or questions so that I can demonstrate my expertise. But think about it as a two-way thing, but ultimately it's got to be of value to your community as well. Subliminal selling, absolutely. In business, we sell to people that we know, like, and trust, and we can build that trust by being helpful in groups, by sharing resources and just talking about stories and what we're doing, and in turn that trust will build and then you will sell. What do you suggest where you have group members leaving negative comments, feedback on your service? This applies to pages as well as groups in terms of managing negativity or managing feedback. I would suggest that you revisit your group rules, allow around what people can and can't do in your group. And negative comments and feedbacks are an opportunity to manage the situation. I would acknowledge it as quickly as you can online and then take it offline. So don't get into debates or arguments, don't involve your community in it, because that often reflects on them as individuals as well. I would acknowledge it so that you're looking into it and then take it offline and maybe go back to the group and post when the situation has been resolved. It's just gone 1 o'clock, it's 1:05. Is that if there's any other questions, please pop them in the box. If not, a huge thank you to IPSE again for hosting today's webinar. We did hit record. I will send the slide deck, so you'll get that circulated to you shortly. As I said, please do connect to me. Please do send me any further questions, and have a great day.